and run away. As you can see, they look like the two of these beautiful cheetah males have got relatively full bodies, full stomachs. So I presume that this is the coalition of males that you have been seeing over the past few years. Now, I don't know too much about these boys, so I'd really appreciate some help this afternoon. If you could perhaps send in a comment or two and let me know about the details of these two brothers. You can do that by either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can send us an email, questions@WildEarth.tv. Now, unfortunately, I'm unsure of when they ate and what they ate, but I'm glad that they just ate something. Cheetah, unfortunately, tend to have the short end of the stick when it comes to the predator hierarchy, being right down at the bottom, even lower than the hyenas, which is so unfortunate. Now, seeing as though you've just seen Karula, the lovely leopardess of Djuma, and now we're looking at the other spotted cat that we occasionally see. I know a few of you are wondering what the differences are, and I know Bobby Chair is wondering exactly that, what the difference between a leopard and a cheetah is. Now, I'm thankful that this male has got his head up, because one of the most obvious differences, and as I say that he looks away, is have a look at those lovely tear marks going down from the corners of his eye right down past his cheeks. Now, leopards don't have those tear marks at all. And of course, the other difference is now if you look at the spots themselves, cheetah actually have spots, whereas leopards have rosettes. Of course, a rosette is a black marking, and then it has got a lighter color inside. So it's not a solid black circle like you see covering the entire cheetah's body. And of course, there's a few other physical differences. For instance, the size. I think that cheetahs tend to be a little bit taller than the leopards, but not quite as stocky. The leopards obviously weigh quite a bit more, and the cheetahs are much lighter. And also, if you look at their claws there, and you see them, how they're sticking out, a cheetah cannot retract its claws like a leopard. They rely on those claws to stay out, to try and help them run as fast as they can. They need all the grip that they can get. Remember, unlike the leopards that rely on stealth and sneaking up to their prey, so do cheetah, but they then have this amazing burst of speed which allows them to race after the animals. And of course, they need to have a slender body and a nice long tail that acts as a rudder to help them turn those sharp corners. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a live cheetah hunt before. I can imagine there aren't too many of those, but if you've seen perhaps a video of them, you've seen how the antelope will dart and twist and turn and pivot on the spot to try and evade the cheetah, and they are always hot in their heels. We've also, if you've been watching these boys now as I've been chatting away, look how nervous they are. And this is a very typical disposition of cheetahs. It's not because of us. They're very much relaxed with all the vehicles that are around them. However, like I said just a moment ago, unfortunately, they are quite low down on the predator hierarchy. So they do have to constantly look over their shoulders, even more so than what we've been seeing Karula doing when she's with her cubs, is because if something like a lion comes through, or even a leopard, they could easily kill this cheetah. Now, a hyena wouldn't really want to kill a cheetah. The only thing it would really want to do is steal its food. But lucky for these cheetah, they seem to have got a good fill. I've even seen it where a big male cheetah had come through and was eating and caught an impala, and he was eating it, and he unfortunately got chased off by 3 leopard-faced vultures. Can you believe it, that a vulture, and of course the leopard-faced vulture, the largest vulture that we see, was able to chase him straight from his meal? Something's caught his attention. What have you seen? Just going to look over my shoulder very quickly, and behind me I could hear the buffalo in the distance, that big herd. So I wonder if it's perhaps not them. I'm also going to snap 1 or 2 photos while they are posing so They're looking very regal at the moment. And I hope that you are doing the same thing. I hope to see some of them a bit later too. The sun is just going down, which is making it relatively difficult now. You can see the light is fading, and I thought the sunset was actually going to be quite beautiful, but it seems as though with the lack of clouds, it's not as spectacular as it could be. Isn't this amazing? And I'm sure that you are all jumping for joy. Well, I hope that you are all jumping for joy watching these beautiful cheetah. I'm so happy to be able to share this special moment with all of you. Oh, look at their fat bellies. Now, oh, I'm just turning the other way. Sorry, I just want to put my camera down. Let me quickly swivel around before I lose wherever I'm going. I will try to push my seat as far back as I can so that I can move around here. Well, Sherry, you're wondering, how can you tell the difference between individual cheetahs? Obviously, as we're looking at all the cats, the more time you spend with them, the easier it is to identify them, whether it's from scars or a cut, a nick out of the ear, something along those lines. But all the cats have got whisker patterns. Have a look. Let's see if we can see here. It's very difficult. We never really ID'd any of the cheetah, unfortunately, down in the south. We didn't see them that often. We only used to see them in the winter months, like I said, occasionally. And then, of course, DNA sampling, which is usually done by Panthera, trying to collect scat. And that is obviously very, very difficult. There's a little plane flying overhead now. Let's see if the cheetahs are going to look up at that, at the big bird in the sky. No. Not too bothered by the aeroplane, or one is looking. There's the aeroplane. Right. I think let's go and watch the great leopardess Karula, who is currently sitting on a termite mound. So I was just having a little look through some of my notes that I've been making of the various animals in this area, and I managed to find a page about these two boys over here. And one of the ways you're able to tell the difference between these two, now it's going to be quite difficult now because the light is fading. You can see that the sun has set behind the horizon. But the male cheetah on the right, if he is so kind to look at us again, his left eye, which is, of course is his eye furthest away from us, is starting to develop a cataract. And it's sort of like a white sort of glistening thing forming over his eye. So that's an easy way to identify him. And I believe that you can also identify them by the spots on the back of their legs. Now, I'm not 100% sure exactly how they do this. I need to find a little bit more. Like I said, we never saw cheetah enough that we were really able to get good looks and make identifying features. We seem to have a variety of different males coming through occasionally, youngsters, old ones. It'll be quite nice to see. Now I'm going to, hopefully, if the one that we're looking at now lifts his head up so we can try and find some nice identifying features that we are able to tell him apart from his brother. And I'm still waiting to hear back from some of you about anything about these cheetah. I'm not even sure how old they are. It's quite difficult looking at them. They're definitely mature boys, so I'm sure they're older than about 6 years old, but perhaps you could help me. As we're watching them, they're sort of sitting in quite a funny position. And I know that Jane V has pointed out that they're sort of lying from head to tail and then vice versa. And she was wondering if perhaps this is a form of a safety technique to try and look over each other's shoulders. Now, I wouldn't put it past me. It could also be just coincidence that they're laying in this formation, but it would make sense if you're a predator and you're not the top dog, that you're able to see all different directions. I wouldn't put it past me, especially now that the light is fading And of course, the predators are really going to start to come out. Bobby, I'm so happy that you're now able to tell the difference between a cheetah and a leopard. It really does help though when you've got two different cats on the screen and you're able to see the differences just within a few minutes of each other. It's quite nice. And of course it can be quite confusing if you're seeing a cheetah for the first time or perhaps a leopard for the first time. So it's really nice to be able to see this. Look at that beautiful sky, the perfect silhouette of the tree, the cheetahs. It has just been an incredible day. Another wonderful day at Safari Live. Oh, a little rollover. He can't quite turn over properly because his brother's in the way, and I'm sure that belly is a slight obstruction too. Now, we haven't seen these cheetah for a while. It doesn't seem like they've come across. I know Brent a few weeks ago had cheetah tracks coming across very briefly, but then going back into Mala Mala. Now, cheetah don't particularly have a big territory. Remember, with all the leopards and the lions and things roaming in and amongst them, it sort of restricts their movement. Like I said, I don't know too much about these boys and where they seem to move around on, but it seems as though they live up to about Mala Mala. Perhaps they even go down into Londolozi, so it's quite a few kilometers, but I don't think it's a very wide range. I think it's quite a narrow territory that what they've got. I'm just trying to put all the properties together in my head if they're coming up here. And of course, they also like the open plains, so they would prefer to come and visit these areas. It is good hunting ground. When you are a cheetah, you can run around a few little bushes, but ideally you need to have big open space and flat ground that they're able to reach the maximum speed. They look exhausted after whatever they've eaten. Now, Lisa, you've asked a fantastic question. You want to know, what do a cheetah hunt? They eat a variety of different things. I'm not sure at the moment what they did eat earlier on today, it seems, or maybe even this morning. But they will eat anything from a scrub hare to an ostrich, to an impala, to a springbok, to a young wildebeest calf. Anything really small. Even a common duiker I've seen them eating before. Any of the smaller antelope. But I think an impala is sort of the biggest that they can eat in terms of antelope size. I think anything bigger than that, perhaps with these two males around though, they could take down something slightly larger because they've got each other to help them. But normally when we see cheetah, they're usually on their own. And I think this is the first coalition of cheetah that I've seen in a long time. I haven't seen more than one. The last time I saw a coalition was many, many years when I first started guiding. And like I said, it's been years since then. So this is really wonderful. Look at that, stretching his toes out. Safu, welcome. Thank you for watching the show. I hope you're enjoying it this far. Safu is a new viewer. Now, you'd like to know, do cheetah always hunt in a group? Not really. Normally, it's just them on their own. They're quite solitary. However, occasionally, like you're seeing now, you'll see a coalition of males. You can even have more than two of brothers that have left their group when they reach sort of sexual maturity and they decided to go off together. Or sometimes it can be a little bit confusing if you see a mother and all her cubs, and especially once they reach the size of mother itself, it can be a bit tricky and you may think that it is a big group of cheetah. Isn't that just a lovely shot? Like I said, that tree has been planted perfectly. Or these cheetah just knew that that would make a great shot. This is such a lovely afternoon. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to stay with the cheetah for too much longer. Firstly, because it's getting a little bit darker, of course. We don't want to stay here after dark. We want to give them their privacy. Isn't that lovely? They're not breathing too hard either. It's not too hot. And I don't think they particularly had a massive meal. They don't look like they've gorged themselves. They look nice and full. But if the opportunity presents itself, well, then I'm sure they will take a chance. There's actually some buffalo crossing in front of us. And I'm wondering if they aren't, you can see them just going behind the trees now, standing, listening. I wonder if they get wind of the cheetah, if they'll perhaps try and chase them. Will be interesting. Let's see if they change their way. Maybe they're going to go and have a drink before the sun sets. But we'll keep a close eye on these two males and see what they get up to. Pavu, you've asked exactly what I was just about to tell you a little bit about. So you'd like to know, are cheetah also opportunistic? And will they make another kill even though they've just eaten something? Yes, they will. They are definitely opportunistic like the cats. I want to point out that cataract. Can you see it now? In the cheetahs, or you just put it down. I don't know if you perhaps managed to get a screenshot as a cheetah was looking towards us. Now, there's a little bird coming running towards us. You heard this little brave bird here, and I'm quite keen to see what the cheetah are going to get up to. Come on. Ooh, you're running very quickly. Run, run, run. Looks like a little Swainson. And they could just realize, that cheetah here. Oh no, but something to eat. And off it goes again. It raced off like a road runner. And those buffalo are actually getting closer. You can see them there coming around the tree. That is going to be very interesting to see if there is going to be a reaction from the buffalo, or perhaps to see if the cheetah are going to react to the buffalo, or if they're just going to sit nice and still and hope that they go unnoticed. Now, this is very tricky light. It's getting quite dull and dark now. So it is going to make it difficult for those buffalo to see as well as what they would normally see during the day. So perhaps the cheetah can just lay very still. And there isn't much wind either. Beautiful. It seems like for now they've got the cover of the trees. They haven't been spotted. I think those buffalo either going for a drink, or perhaps they're going to regroup with the big herd that we saw earlier. We could hear them making quite a bit of noise, so maybe they're just responding to some of the calls. Yeah, it seems as though they are going home to the rest of their family. You better catch up quickly. There could be some lions around, you never know, and that would make a nice tasty treat. Look at that lovely white tip of hair as well on their tails. I just absolutely love that. They're so elegant, the greyhounds of the bush. The cheetah really are such beautiful creatures, and really need to make the most of a sighting like this, because we never know if and when we're going to see them again. And James Richard, thank you, and I'm so glad we could have made your day. I know that you all have missed the drives, and isn't it like you just said, it's perfect to have the cheetah and the sunset in the background all in one. This is really lovely. But we'll spend just a couple more minutes with them, and then we're going to have to head on out. Like I said, it's just getting a little bit too dark now. I don't want to bother these cheetah too much. and give them a little bit of privacy too. But isn't that a beautiful pose now? It's almost too dark for me now to take any pictures. But I think grab as many screenshots as you can. Isn't this lovely? Oh, this one looks like it's got a little nick out of its ear. Can you see that on the left? Looks as though it's got a notch. So that's another easy way to tell this male apart. He seems to have a little notch on his left ear. Beautiful boys. But unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodbye to these cheetah now. But I'm so happy that we managed to get a little glimpse of them just before the sun went down. We're going to say goodbye, and let's go back to Jamie and see how her afternoon is going with the Queen. So, as we were about to leave the sighting, a big herd of impala raced past these two cheetah, and they've gotten up now. Now, they've run the other way, but I see that there is another herd of impala in the distance. We're going to give them a bit of space because it is getting a little bit dark. I don't want to startle them too much, but seeing as though they're being very nice to us and have decided to jump on up, I think it'll be worth spending a couple more minutes with them. So we're going to try and follow them. We'll try and keep up with them. I'm just going to go a little bit further forward. Possibly what we may do is try and get ahead of them and then just wait quietly for them to come to us. Let's see what they're going to do. If you look very carefully in the distance, you can actually see all their impala. Right. See them moving along. What we may do is actually have to go all the way around and jump on that road, sort of in the direction where those cheetah are going. There's actually a road running through the middle. So I think that's probably what we will go and do. I don't want to off-road unnecessarily when there is a lovely road that we can drive on. You see, the one at the back seems to be a little bit skittish. And if you can see him, he's looking over his shoulder, and every now and then jogs up to keep up with his brother. You can see a little bit hesitant. Once again, it is getting dark. I don't want to bother them too much. The impala are now running away. Can you see all those impala up ahead in the distance? You can see them just disappearing now. They've seen that cheetah and they know that that is not good news. So they're going to race off and move out of this area very quickly. And boys, what are you up to? Marking territories? You can see that tree is also used by an elephant, all the mud on it. Oh my goodness, there's impala everywhere. There's impala running behind the cheetah, in front of the cheetah, and to the left of where we're parked. Now, I think actually we're going to just sit right here and we're going to wait and see what happens. Let's see if they're going to come. I don't think they're going to go for a drink. They seem to be moving away now. We're going to see the other one catching up. Like I said, we're going to have to call it quits, not in a little bit. I can't put a spotlight on these cheetah. We need to give them a bit of space. Oh, you can hear the impala. Turn the volume up. Can hear the impala. There's now zebra coming onto the open plain. There's wildebeest on the plains. There are impala everywhere. And the boys are moving off. It wouldn't surprise me if the zebra would chase them or the wildebeest all ganged up together and chase them. You can see they are staring attentively towards them. I'm going to go up a little bit further. Like I said, we're definitely going to be keeping our distance because the light is fading. Let's see if we can get another little look at them. very curious as to everything that's going on around them. But now that the impala know that they are here, the wildebeest know they are here, the zebra know that the cheetah are here, I don't think they're going to be very lucky. They may have to wait for the cover of darkness. Like I said, it isn't impossible that the cheetah wouldn't hunt at night. There's just a lot more competition around at night from the lions, from the leopards, from the hyenas, which prefer to use the cover of darkness. But there are always exception to the rules. And having a little smell. Probably haven't come through here any time recently. Now, Debbie, you're wondering if impala alarm call at cheetah. They do indeed. Impala will alarm call for a variety of different things. For wild dogs, I've heard them going absolutely ballistic for. They run, but as well as snorting to alert the other members of the herd. You can still hear them in the distance letting off a snort. But not how we see impala standing still, looking at lions and alarming. They know that these cheetah can run very, very fast, much like the wild dogs, and the wild dogs obviously can keep their stamina up quite a bit, but they rather keep and put a distance between themselves. Lions are a little bit different. They know that they have to rely on stealth. They'll never be able to outrun an impala, especially if the impala know that they're there. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to follow these cheetah any further. It's now getting very dark, as you can see. So we shall watch them as they disappear into the distance and go about their nightly routine. Very, very nervous, though. Constantly looking over their shoulder. Moving very, very slowly. It's just slinking along. Seems like they've picked up the scent of something. You see that? How that tail is twitching and moving. It's almost like their brain is working. What are you boys up to? I can't see any more impala close by. They seem to have all run off. See them smelling? Right, let's go back to Jamie very quickly.